A person can be living their ordinary day, walking, eating, laughing with family, while inside their kidneys are quietly failing. No pain, no warning, no hint of danger. Then one morning the body swells, blood pressure spikes, or fatigue becomes overwhelming, and by the time the truth is revealed, the damage is often permanent. Chronic kidney disease does not whisper, it waits, silent and deadly, until the moment it changes a life forever. The silence of kidney decline does not mean nothing can be done. Across Japan and the United States, research shows that ordinary daily choices, how we season our food, how we hydrate, how we move, can slow this hidden damage. For many older adults, these simple steps not only protect the kidneys, they also preserve energy, strength, and even mental clarity. The disease may advance quietly, but our response can be deliberate, steady, and strong. Every day that passes without action is a day the kidneys lose ground that can never be regained. By the time pain or crisis arrives, it is often too late to reverse the damage. In this very lesson, I will uncover two of the most protective habits I have given to older adults for decades. Habits so simple yet so powerful, they can decide whether you live in strength or slip into decline. If you miss them now, you may never get another chance to defend your kidneys. I am Dr. Suzuki Sato, Japan's oldest nutritionist. For more than a century, I have watched how small daily habits decide whether older adults live with strength or struggle with decline. Have you ever been surprised by a test result showing kidney strain? Share your thoughts below and consider subscribing so we can continue guiding you with science and wisdom. Today, we begin a journey to see how kidney damage hides, to uncover the barriers that speed it, to learn the habits that protect against it, and to bring them together in one gentle plan. Stay with me, because every step matters. Most people believe that when something goes wrong with the kidneys, they will feel it right away. They expect pain, or at least a dramatic change. Yet the reality is far different. Chronic kidney damage is one of the most silent conditions we face as we grow older. In fact, studies in both America and Japan have shown that close to 9 out of 10 people with early kidney problems have no idea anything is wrong. Their daily lives seem normal until suddenly a test shows that the kidneys are no longer keeping up. Why does this happen? The kidneys are small organs, but they carry a heavy responsibility. They filter waste from the blood, regulate fluid, balance minerals, control blood pressure, and even help keep bones strong. They are remarkably resilient, which means they can quietly lose strength for years without sending a clear signal. But by the time swelling, fatigue, or shortness of breath appear, much of the function has already slipped away. Think of it this way. The kidneys are like two diligent workers in the background of your body's factory. They rarely complain. They just keep sorting, filtering, and balancing. But if the workload grows heavier from high blood pressure, diabetes, or excess salt, these workers wear down. They may keep showing up to the job, but they can no longer finish the task with the same precision. Waste builds up slowly. You may not feel it, but the hidden strain is already there. Here is something worth hearing twice. Kidney decline is not just a kidney problem. When kidneys weaken, heart risk rises. Blood pressure becomes harder to control. Bones can lose strength more quickly. Even the brain can suffer because toxins the kidneys once cleared begin to linger in the blood. This is why protecting kidney health is not about one organ. It is about the whole body's independence. Let me share an image I have seen countless times. An older adult comes to a clinic for a routine checkup. They feel fine, maybe a little tired, maybe ankles puff up at night, but nothing unusual for their age. The doctor runs blood and urine tests, and the numbers tell another story. Filtration rate is lower than expected. Protein is leaking into the urine. These are quiet but powerful signals that the kidneys are struggling. That person often says, "But I felt normal yesterday. How can I be sick today?" The truth is, the illness was there long before the symptoms. This is where I must ask you directly. Have you or someone you love ever been caught off guard by a routine test that showed something was wrong even though life felt normal? Share that experience in the comments below. Your story may remind someone else to ask for those simple tests before it is too late. Pay close attention here, because this could change the way you protect your health forever. The two most important tests for kidney health are very simple: a blood test that checks estimated filtration and a urine test that looks for protein leakage. In Japan, many community health checks include urine testing as routine, and this has saved lives by detecting problems early. In the United States, too often these tests are skipped until symptoms force them. Yet they can be requested easily at a yearly checkup. Now, some of you may wonder, is a lower filtration rate always dangerous in older adults? The answer is nuanced. Kidney function does tend to decline gradually with age, but when combined with protein in the urine, even mild changes become important. Doctors in both countries agree that the combination of filtration numbers and protein leakage is what best predicts future health. Knowing this early allows small daily habits like reducing salt, balancing protein, and steady hydration to make a difference. Don't drift now, because what comes next is the hidden barrier that blocks all progress if we ignore it. Before we talk about the two daily habits that protect kidneys the most, we must first face this barrier. Without addressing it, even the best foods and exercises cannot deliver their full benefit. Before we step into the habits that protect the kidneys most, there is a barrier we must face. If we ignore this, nothing else will work. That barrier is the quiet pressure and strain caused by salt-fluid imbalance and certain everyday medicines. Let us begin with salt. Salt may not seem dangerous, but for the kidneys it is a constant weight. Too much sodium pulls water into the bloodstream, raising blood pressure. Inside the kidney are tiny, delicate filters called glomeruli. Think of them as fine sieves. High pressure pushes against them day after day, slowly stretching and scarring them. Over time, this strain wears them out. In Japan, health authorities have long urged adults to bring daily salt below 7 grams. In America, the recommendation is under about 2,300 milligrams of sodium. Yet in both countries, average intake is far above that. The result is kidneys working harder than they should every single day. Now, it is important to be fair. Salt is not bad for everyone in the same way. Some people are more sensitive to it, while others can handle a little more. What matters most is whether blood pressure is creeping up and whether the kidneys already show signs of strain. For those people, lowering salt can make a profound difference. In studies, reducing sodium lowered blood pressure and reduced the leakage of protein in the urine. In simple terms, it helped the kidneys breathe easier. The second piece of this barrier is fluid. Dehydration is common in older adults because thirst signals fade with age. Without enough fluid, the kidneys cannot flush waste properly. Blood becomes more concentrated, and the filters are starved of the flow they need to do their job. But here is the tricky part. Too much fluid can also cause harm in people with heart failure or advanced kidney disease. Their bodies cannot handle the extra water, leading to swelling and shortness of breath. This is why the right path is steady, balanced hydration, small sips through the day, not sudden floods. For many, a glass of water or tea with each meal and one between meals is enough. For others, doctors may set a daily limit. The key is consistency, not extremes. The third hidden barrier is medication. Pain relievers like ibuprofen and naproxen are widely used for arthritis and aches, but they can quietly reduce blood flow into the kidneys. When used often or without supervision, they increase the risk of injury. Another example is the acid-reducing pills many take for heartburn called proton pump inhibitors. Some studies suggest that long-term use is linked to kidney problems. This does not mean everyone should stop their medicine suddenly. Never do that without guidance. It means we must check with our doctors whether each pill we swallow is still needed or whether there is a safer option. Let me pause here for a moment. Have you ever looked at your daily routine, your meals, your drinks, your pills, and wondered whether something ordinary might be quietly wearing you down? If so, share your thoughts in the comments. Sometimes the smallest detail, like how salty a soup is or how often we take a pill, makes the biggest difference. Pay close attention here. Lowering salt, keeping hydration steady, and reviewing medicines do not look dramatic, yet they set the stage for everything else. If we skip this step, even the best foods and the wisest exercise routines will give only half their benefit. If we respect this barrier, the habits we add next will finally take root. Only a small share of viewers are subscribed. If what you have heard so far is opening your eyes, subscribing now allows us to continue bringing you these careful science-based tools every week. Stay with me, because in just a moment I will reveal the 2 habits that do the most to protect kidneys with the least effort. Without them, all this preparation remains unfinished. With them, it transforms into lasting protection. Now that we have cleared the path, it is time to step into the heart of protection. Over the decades, I have watched many older adults regain stability in their kidneys with just 2 steady habits. These habits are not complicated. They do not require expensive treatments or unusual diets, yet they are powerful because they work with the body's natural design. The first habit is sodium-smart eating. For most of us, salt does not come from the pinch at the table. It comes from the sauces, broths, breads, and packaged foods that pass quietly into our meals each day. In Japan, miso soups, soy sauce, and pickled vegetables often bring in more salt than we realize. In America, it is the processed meats, canned goods, and breads. These foods taste comforting, but they add up to a heavy load. When salt is high, blood pressure climbs, and those delicate kidney filters are pushed harder than they should be. Here is the hopeful part. When we reduce sodium even modestly, the kidneys sigh with relief. Blood pressure begins to soften, swelling lessens, and protein in the urine may decline. Researchers in both Tokyo and Boston have found that even a small reduction in sodium makes measurable improvements in kidney and heart health. That is why one of the simplest acts you can do is to flavor with herbs, citrus, ginger, or vinegar instead of relying on salt alone. Imagine your soup brightened with lemon or yuzu, or your vegetables lifted with sesame and garlic. Flavor stays, but strain lessens. The second habit is balanced protein. The body needs protein to keep muscles, bones, and the immune system strong. Without enough, older adults lose strength quickly. Yet too much, especially from red meats and processed sauces, forces the kidneys to work overtime to clear the nitrogen waste. Research shows that a gentle balance, often around 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight for those with kidney disease, protects both strength and kidney function. For many healthy older adults, the number may be slightly higher, but the principle is the same. Not too little, not too much. Balanced protein also means variety. Fish, eggs, tofu, beans, and yogurt can each play a role. In Japan, soy foods have long been part of daily life, and studies suggest they may help reduce protein leakage in the urine. In the United States, diets rich in beans, nuts, and fish show similar benefits. This is not about cutting everything you love. It is about choosing the form and the portion that match your body's stage of health. Let me give you an example. One older neighbor of mine loved eating pork every evening. Their kidney function began to slide and swelling in the legs became common. By shifting just 3 dinners a week to tofu and fish and using herbs instead of salt, blood pressure dropped, swelling eased, and kidney numbers steadied. Nothing extreme was required, only thoughtful balance. You may want to hear this twice, because it is the hinge that allows everything else to work. Sodium-smart meals and balanced protein are not glamorous changes, but they are the ones that protect kidneys day after day. Together, they lighten the pressure inside the kidney and reduce the waste that must be cleared. It is this combination that creates real, lasting protection. If you have tried lowering salt or adjusting protein before, what worked for you? Share your experience below. It may inspire someone else who feels stuck. In the next moments, we will fine-tune these habits, looking at the exceptions and the adjustments needed for those on medications or with conditions that change the rules. Understanding those details ensures no one is left out and every senior can find a safe path forward. Healthy habits are powerful, but they are never one-size-fits-all. What strengthens one body can be risky for another. To truly protect the kidneys, we must honor the exceptions and fine-tune the details. Let us begin with medications. Many older adults are prescribed drugs to help protect kidney function, such as ACE inhibitors, ARBs, or the newer SGLT2 inhibitors. These are often life-saving, but they can raise potassium levels in some people. High potassium is dangerous for the heart. That is why your doctor may tell you to limit certain foods, even ones usually considered healthy like bananas or spinach. The lesson here is not that these foods are harmful to everyone. It is that the right diet must always be matched to the medicines you take and the numbers your tests reveal. Another important group is people living with diabetes. For them, kidneys can be damaged even when blood sugar looks reasonably controlled. This is why routine urine tests for protein are so critical. In fact, some of the earliest warning signs of kidney stress in diabetes are not symptoms you can feel, but numbers on a lab report. If albumin is found in the urine, adjusting diet and tightening sugar control can prevent further loss. Then, there is the matter of protein itself. You may recall that balanced protein is protective, but extremes in either direction are dangerous. Too little protein in older adults leads to frailty, falls, and infections. Too much, especially from red or processed meats, burdens the kidneys. That is why the best approach is not to follow a fad diet, but to create a rhythm that protects strength while avoiding overload. In Japan, soy foods often fill this role. In America, beans, eggs, or yogurt can do the same. What matters most is not perfection, but balance. Let me share a story of quiet success. An older woman in her 70s loved her pickled vegetables and salty broths. Her kidneys had begun to show stress, and swelling made walking uncomfortable. Instead of removing her favorite foods completely, she learned to prepare them differently. The pickles were soaked briefly in water to wash away some salt. The broth was flavored with mushrooms and citrus instead of extra miso. She still enjoyed the dishes she grew up with, but her blood pressure eased, swelling lessened, and her kidney numbers held steady. This kind of gentle adjustment, not restriction, is often what keeps habits sustainable. There are also those living with heart failure. For them, too much water is as dangerous as too little. Their kidneys and heart must be managed together. Doctors may set strict fluid limits, and following those limits is just as important as choosing the right foods. Every sip matters. This is worth hearing again. Protecting kidneys is not about following a strict rule for everyone. It is about shaping your routine to fit your health, your medicines, and your culture. For some, that means lowering salt more aggressively. For others, it means shifting protein sources. For others still, it means counting each cup of liquid carefully. Have you ever found that advice given to everyone did not work for you until it was adjusted to your needs? Share that in the comments. It may encourage someone who feels frustrated by rigid rules. We are nearing the end, but the next piece is perhaps the most valuable. It is where all the learning comes together in a simple daily rhythm. This final step shows how to live these habits every day without feeling overwhelmed, and it may be the very thing that protects your independence for years longer. We have spoken about the silence of kidney damage, the barriers that make it worse, and the habits that protect against it. But knowledge alone is not enough. What matters most is how we live these truths each day. The kidneys are not protected by one dramatic change. They are protected by rhythms, steady actions that repeat until they become second nature. Picture the beginning of your day. A warm cup of water or tea helps replace what is lost overnight. It may not seem powerful, but that small act sets the tone for steady hydration. When taken consistently, it reduces the sudden strain that comes from going too long without fluid. Over time, this simple rhythm can mean the difference between filters that cope and filters that falter. Meals are the next opportunity. If breakfast is eggs and toast, season with herbs, vegetables, or citrus instead of reaching for the salt shaker. If you prefer tofu or miso soup, prepare them with less sodium, adding seaweed, mushrooms, or ginger for flavor. At lunch or dinner, keep protein balanced, a modest portion of fish, beans, or tofu alongside vegetables and grains. When meals are built this way, the kidneys are not overwhelmed and your muscles still receive what they need. Movement also plays a quiet role. A 10-minute walk after your largest meal helps blood sugar and blood pressure remain steadier. This reduces the burden on the kidneys without feeling like exercise at all. Even those who cannot walk outdoors can stand, stretch, or march in place to signal the body to handle food more gently. Pay closer attention here, because this is often the step that makes all the others stick. Consistency matters more than intensity. Missing one day is not failure, but building a chain of small, repeatable actions is what shields the kidneys over months and years. You do not need perfection, you need persistence. Another rhythm to embrace is regular monitoring. Once or twice a year, request blood and urine tests from your doctor. These numbers are the story of how well your kidneys are holding up. They are not just lab results, they are guideposts showing whether your daily habits are enough or need adjusting. Without these guideposts, it is easy to walk blind until decline is too steep. This is where I invite you to take part. What single step will you try first? Will you begin with reducing salt in your soup, or adding a few minutes of movement after dinner, or asking your doctor for a urine test? Share your decision in the comments below, and also tell us what insight today surprised you most. We read every note, and your words may be the encouragement another person needs. Remember this: the kidneys are not saved by extremes. They are preserved by quiet, daily respect. A cup of water in the morning, a meal flavored wisely, a balanced portion of protein, a short walk, a test that reveals the truth. These are small acts, yet together they guard years of strength and independence. Don't let the simplicity fool you. These steady rhythms are the shield. They may look ordinary, but for many older adults, they are the difference between a life of freedom and a life narrowed by decline. We began with a difficult truth. Kidney damage often sneaks forward without pain or warning. It works quietly, and by the time swelling, fatigue, or frightening numbers appear, much of the damage is already set. But we have also seen that silence does not mean helplessness. Every day offers chances to protect these organs that guard our independence. We explored how hidden barriers, salt, dehydration, and certain medicines can strain the kidneys even when we feel fine. We uncovered the two habits that protect most: sodium-smart meals and balanced protein, and we learned how to live them gently through simple rhythms of hydration, mindful cooking, balanced portions, small walks, and regular testing. None of these steps are extreme, yet together they form a shield that strengthens not only the kidneys, but the heart, the bones, and the mind. This is worth hearing again. Protection is not built on perfection. It is built on persistence. A few steady steps, repeated over time, carry far more power than a burst of effort quickly abandoned. I would like to hear from you. What is the one step you will begin with this week? Will it be reducing salt in your soup, balancing protein, or asking your doctor for a urine test? Write it in the comments, along with one idea that surprised you today. Your words may guide someone else who is searching for hope. If you found value in this, subscribing ensures we can continue bringing these practical tools every week. Care for your kidneys quietly each day, and they will quietly care for you in return. Small daily choices are not small at all. They are the very choices that preserve years of strength, freedom, and dignity.